Welcome to UA Anime Club. I'm Seth.
And I'm Micah.
And I'm Poyo.
This is Figure Eight's Anime Discussion Podcast, where we talk about a different anime in every single episode. Today's episode, we're joined by our friend TrevZed. Say hey.
Yo.
That's not what I said. I said say
What?
hey.
No, I'm a free man.
What the fuck? We discussed this.
No, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yes, your ears aren't deceiving you. I said UA Anime Club. It's been since like March of this year since the last one.
Rise from your graves.
Rise from the grave.
What? Oh.
And trust us, we will talk about another show other than My Hero Academia at some point.
We will. We promise. But it's really exciting to be doing this again. It's exciting to have Trev back as our guest.
Yeah.
What's also exciting, new My Hero Academia movie announcement. Officially, we speculated that we'd get one in our last episode. A few weeks ago, at the beginning of August, Weekly Shonen Jump announced that the fourth MHA film was in the works. And a few days later, like on the 6th or whatever, a teaser video showcasing footage from all the previous MHA films was shown off, and a poster featuring Deku wearing his now current manga variation of his hero costume, which has not been seen in the anime yet. If you look at it, there's like, it's slightly different, like the white stripes on his like shirt are like yellow. His his like gauntlets from the Dark Deku arc are now built into the shoot style, like wind shooting gloves.
His knee pads are the most inconsistently colored thing ever, because sometimes they're like black, sometimes they're red, and now they're green.
The anime art always draws Deku so fucking skinny and scrawny, dude.
When he's actually built.
It's weird, because Horikoshi now is kind of giving him the, like, you know, the chest a little bit, like he's getting big.
You look at the end of the last movie where the like gloves break off. Dude's got anchor arms, like
Gross Popeye.
Before we start anything on the discussion, I want to address the elephant in the room here, because I know some of you heard me say fourth movie announcement for My Hero Academia, and you're thinking, oh no, this means that season 7's quality is gonna tank just like the last season 5 did, right? I just want to take the time to remind everyone that season 5, especially its back half, it was in production during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown. It was like under full effect. So that like halted the production of season 5.
That thought crossed my mind briefly, but it actually answered a question that I had in the back of my brain. The gap between the anime and manga is very small, and there are only essentially like 2 mini arcs and then the final arc left. And having a season where they cut that final arc in half doesn't seem feasible. And season 7 has yet to have an official release date. It has merely been announced to exist. Mm-hmm. So I believe they're finally pulling their traditional anime card, having a movie to make time for the manga to finish so that they can do season 7 and not have to worry about that.
Right.
Especially since the manga has been taking a lot of breaks recently, and a lot of like, because of the fact that like Hori has very like on and off health issues. So like you said, the gap between the show and the source material is like getting closer and closer.
And if that's the case, then that's exactly what I would have wanted. Because
unless Bones is bad, and then they just fucking do it anyway.
Yeah. Because there's like a big worry in my mind is that after the last season, there really was not much between the anime and where the manga is at right now. If they do that route, where they use a movie to kind of pad out, give themselves some time, the manga some time, that's great. Awesome.
The thing that really put it in perspective was the tease that we ended season 6 with of Star and Stripe. The volume following her story arc that we're going to be getting into next season came out around the same time in the US. Normally, there's a huge gap between that. So that really showed me like, oh, we're really, like, there is not much left for them to adapt.
I wanted to bring up how season 5 was also made during COVID, and how that alongside having the movie, like, kind of dividing the staff up, was, the reason of why it kind of tanked in quality there. But I also wanted to remind everyone, seasons 3 and 4, while an aspect of the animation went a little down because they had movies with them, they were still great. A movie and a season together doesn't automatically mean a season is going to be awful.
Yeah, it's going to mean that like the really good people are going to get brought into the movie, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a fucking movie. But that
Yeah.
doesn't
Right.
automatically mean that the show's just going to look like shit.
Yeah, I've kind of deducted a My Hero season formula where for the beginning of the season will look like it'll set the establishment. It'll look really good, and then the second half will have like a spike because it's the beginning of a new core essentially,
Mhm.
and then it'll kind of plateau, and then at the very end they'll have a big fight with like the movie level like animation.
Mhm.
We saw it in season 4 with Endeavor and the Nomu. We saw it in season 5 with Shigaraki and Redestro. We saw it in season 6 with
Yeah,
Deku
season
versus Class
6.
A. Like it's all a formula. So they have a pattern of getting like the big moment that they want for the season to be well animated. They have
Mhm.
they have a formula. They have a way.
Mhm.
Also, My Hero is yearly. Let's remember that too. My Hero comes out yearly, like new
Mhm.
seasons, basically. Like it's not like there's other shows where they've gotten new seasons, but there's been like a couple of years, like a couple of years of a gap between them. But My Hero hasn't really had that. It's just been they've been chugging it out. So I feel like even without a movie, like a dip in quality was bound to happen at some point. You
Which
know?
is a problem in of its own right. I wish that My Hero
Yeah.
Academia got the same, because, I mean, let's be honest here. Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen were both bigger releases than the future seasons of My Hero in terms of gauging interest. And despite
Oh yeah.
the
And
popularity for those
Chainsaw
stories,
Man.
yeah, like despite the popularity for those stories being at their all-time high, they still waited like 2 years between season 1 and 2 for those stories
Yeah.
to
Oh
come
yeah,
out.
because JJK also got a movie, and then but also Mappa works on like half of those shows,
Yeah.
which the a whole nother fucking thing. I
You
was also
also
gonna
have
say that. Sorry,
go ahead.
I was also gonna say season 5 had the issue of just the arcs being fucked up anyways. So like even if the season looked fine, like which it did at points, but even if it looked great all throughout, the way they chose to adapt certain things was already going to be like a problem.
Yeah. Season 5's arguably the bigger issue with that is its cut content and speedrunning Villain Academia.
And
My
like,
speedrun academia.
rearrangement to fuel the movie's plot.
Mhm.
So
That
it's like,
that was also a problem too. I was
which
like,
is
okay.
it's silly. It's like
I still feel like someone had a vendetta against my villain, but I do also think maybe the bigger reason was just they switched the arcs around so they could promote the movie with the Endeavor Agency arc. So then they're like, okay, let's do villain. But then they had like what? How many
6
episodes was it?
episodes.
because
Which is not enough.
I remember calculating it, and
Yep.
it was like it blew my mind because I was following the episodes of Endeavor Agency and when they come out, and it was like the last episode of Endeavor Agency comes out the week before the movie does.
Oh my god.
They timed it perfectly to segue into the film, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and arguably like the existence of the movie in and of itself isn't the issue. It's like what either the executives at Bones or Toho were thinking with like work with like
And
synergizing the show.
prioritization.
And the
What
movie,
were they thinking?
which I don't think is going to happen with this one because we're kind of in I guess you can kind of say we're in an off year for My Hero because like
Mhm.
there's the possibility of no show, but it also, and we'll get into it like later, like where I'm thinking the movie might take place in the timeline. We might have to be in season 7 a little bit in order for it to kind of make sense for a general audience. But
Yeah.
They also released the second movie, which like that fucking the manga was 4 volumes behind on, and the anime was a whole 2 seasons behind on where that movie takes place. So who
Yeah,
knows?
so whatever.
Yeah, there is just so many threads that were against season 5, unfortunately.
And it seems like season 6 learned a lot from the faults or
Yeah.
things of 5.
They managed it well.
Like, say what you want,
There's
but like at the very least, nothing got fucking cut.
yeah,
And
there's
like
areas that
it
obviously
was
could have
fine.
been better, but they managed it a lot better. You can very obviously see that.
Mhm.
Historically, we've seen more seasons with higher quality alongside a movie than we have seen lower quality seasons with a movie.
It's true. I did want to bring up on one note of the production front. There's some full circle theory crafting that ended up paying off in the end.
Okay.
I'm sure you know about this, but we were led to believe this movie's been in development for quite some time, as it's speculated that movie 4 had been teased as early as September of 2022. There was a color spread on a chapter based with 2 mysterious books lying on the ground, one titled Anime Season 6, and the one beneath it being censored, only revealing the starting letter of M. The manga's teased a movie release before. Movie 2 was announced in March of 2019, 9 cameoed in the manga in a chapter in April, and the film released in December. So, that's not out of the question.
I remember talking about that when we first started the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, yo.
And yeah, we speculated that for a long ass time, and I guess it's true now.
Yeah, movie 4 ended up happening. And to a point that we'll get to later, but there is a very clear gap of time following the story's events for where a movie could take place, like in the manga storyline. The cleanest cut we've ever seen.
Which, at the time when we speculated the idea of a movie happening, I was like, I don't even know where a movie would take place. It doesn't make any sense. But like, there's not to spoil anything in the manga, but if you read that chapter, there's like a clear moment where you're like, wait, was something supposed to happen there and then it didn't? So who knows? But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little later. But first, I want to bring up, since we have this topic of the movies, I kind of wanted to bring up our or discuss the previous My Hero films and share our basically our, without delving into the plot too much, just our general quick thoughts on the last 3 My Hero movies.
I guess a rapid fire breakdown of my thoughts on the 3 films.
Tier list,
let's go. Because I think they all exceed in different areas. I think 2 Heroes was a really nice down to earth kind of starting film with a good introduction of Melissa and a really nice segue into All Might's history and what he was doing in his youth. There's a lot of weird, dumb plot decisions towards the end, but like overall, I remember that movie fondly for what it gave us, which was a Deku All Might team up we were desperately wanting.
Yeah, and we would never get anywhere else.
Yeah, it's a good platform to introduce ideas that the manga didn't get the chance to, and that was a good one. Heroes Rising was a very fun Dragon Ball style kind of movie where it's just let's go fight, let's do crazy battles. Despite the clunky execution of some of its grander moments, it really made for an entertaining movie experience. It's my least favorite in terms of narrative, but in terms of popcorn films, it's top tier. And then World Heroes Mission, I think, is the perfect balance of everything, because it doesn't intrude on any story beats that the manga's established. There's a clear focus on plot and character. Rhodey was a very integral part of that film, and he didn't feel like a waste or a filler character. A lot of people loved Rhodey. I did too. Villain was a little weak, but that tends to be the pattern with these films, and overall, it was just a very solid experience. I really enjoyed World Heroes Mission.
Definitely.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next because like
Go ahead, yeah.
So I have a really fond attachment to these movies. Just generally, I think it's because like these were some of the first anime films I went to go see. Like I actually went to theaters to see them.
Mhm.
I remember I went to go see Two Heroes. I didn't pre-order tickets for that, which was a dumbass mistake because a lot of the theaters were sold out. But I did
Mm.
find one that had like a couple of seats left, and I knew my mom was pissed at me, but I was like, I'm sorry. I went to go see it. That one is really fun. I really enjoy the movie. I think personally, like in terms of my like would I go back to watch it? It's kind of like at the bottom. I still really like it though because well again, like it's the first My Hero film and I had a lot of fun. I think the main thing that like makes my enjoyment of these heightened is when I go to see these with like packed theaters because all the movies I've seen with My Hero have had packed theaters and that one was really like reactive, like they were cheering and laughing and stuff. It was a lot of fun and like everyone was like really hyped for like the final scene. um yeah, I
Awesome.
think it's just like a fun movie. It kind of just feels like a My Hero special if you really think about it. um but I really liked it. I think for for it being the first movie, I thought it was cute. The second movie I really enjoyed. That one is like you said, like that's like the Dragon Ball like hype like film. I
Mhm.
think they probably I don't know if this is actually it, but they probably took a tab with the fact that like only certain students in the first film were really prominent. So they're like, okay, how about we just bring every single student and like have them have a little moment so that no one gets left out.
Yeah.
Which I did like that. I did enjoy that. I also did I did like the little like off plot with like the non-hero characters, even if they were kind of like it was very bare bones. You know, it's just very basic. I personally think Nine is like the best movie villain. I think
Mm.
because well, first of all, he has a really cool design. I just feel like he stands out from like the other two the most to me.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
I don't
I
even know the
think
first
also
movie villain's name.
yeah, like does he even have one?
Wolfram. He sucks.
um,
I forget his
I
design.
think Nine was just designed to be like the perfect like you said like Dragon Ball like let's fight this freak type villain like just super powerful and shit, and I thought that was fine. And even though it's very fan servicey, I liked is it One for All or is it All for One? I mix them
It's
up.
One for All.
One for All, fucking Bakugo and Deku tag team up. Even though I know they did this so that it could revert to the status quo, but the fact that like they like just forced Bakugo to have amnesia,
So
he just
bad.
he just fucking forgets.
What
That
the fuck
that's the
happened?
that's the point that turns that movie from like an A to like an A minus.
It's
Because
just like okay, like I get why, but I'm just like that's kind of dumb.
the funny nerd part of my brain that makes it even dumber for me is that that was a willing transfer that the Vestiges just decided to say no to. How come? So if All
Wait,
for One steals it, which is his whole goal, couldn't they hypothetically just say no in an
Wasn't that the-
unwilling transfer?
But there was an episode about that, if you remember, in season
what
6.
I forgot what they said.
Remember, like it's when Shigaraki grabbed Deku by the face, like when he went all rage mode, and then they went into the
Mhm.
One for All world, and they
Oh
were stealing
yeah,
it. And then the first user was like, "No, Deku's awesome, you idiot! You can't have our
Yeah.
power." That's
true.
kind of what it is.
It's just like that was like a struggle against an
Yeah, it was a little
unwilling
bit like
one. The hero was just like, oh, I mean, I know that was your own choice or whatever, but like, no. So
He's
it
mean.
is kind of weird. It's
I
kinda
just
weird.
like the idea of Shigaraki being like, yes, I finally have it. Where'd it go? Oh, we
Huh?
disagreed.
Nuh-uh.
I said
What do you
nah.
mean nuh-uh? I feel like they could have just made that movie like non-canon. If you just see the movie as non-canon, I feel like it works even better that way because it's like you can just get away with doing shit like that instead of having
Yeah.
to make it make sense in the narrative, but whatever.
I agree. As much as they want to sprinkle 9 and into the lore of the manga, which it doesn't line up ever. But yeah, as a non-canon popcorn thing, I absolutely agree.
Yeah,
I wish I saw it in theaters like you did.
No, that was a lot of fun because like obviously everyone clapped, everyone cheered, everyone was screaming. It was really good. I think I saw all these movies dubbed. See these movies dubbed, by the way. Holy shit.
Yes.
I really
Johnny
like Heroes Rising. Now not two heroes. I hate that these movies have similar fucking subtitles. Shit.
It's even weirder because the first one is called Two Heroes.
Two Heroes.
And then the second one. And then the second one is Heroes Rising. As if it's like
it's like switch the titles around and it'd be perfect.
That's the problem, is that they're all interchangeable.
Yeah.
World's Hero Mission kind of makes a little bit it's a bit
better.
I guess
World's
so.
Hero Mission though, I think that's objectively the best film. It feels more like a traditional proper movie. Mm-hmm. Like you said, it's like a good balance between like actually having like a side plot that like makes sense and kind of aligns with like what the main thing is trying to do. I really like Rhodey. He's one of my favorite characters. He's only a movie character though, and that's what sucks. Like I love that dude so much. Yeah, I just thought World's Hero Mission is just so like sound. Like it's just solid.
It's solid, yeah.
I do think like I honestly really enjoyed like the parts of the movie like that weren't just the hero shit more, because they actually like took some time to like develop that stuff and like have the movies a road trip if you think about it.
Yeah.
I like that.
That whole conversation Deku and Rhodey have in the cave is like a highlight scene for me, because it's just
so nice. It's just
perspective
nice.
on them.
They do have the other students there, but I do like that they kind of just focus on Bakugo and Todoroki. It's like it's Bakugo and Todoroki. Like
they got their main cast.
Also, I'm so sorry. It's just that one little scene where like Bakugo's hacking into a computer. It's silly.
It's so funny.
Bro definitely. Bro definitely browses 4chan.
Well, we made a joke where we were like Bakugo on Sakugaboru.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that movie. I think it's like the best one. I love the insert character, and yeah, it's just really good. I also had fun watching that in the theaters too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like think of other things to say before I move it over. Yeah, I guess the villain is kind of weak. I don't know. I kind of like that he's like a weird like incel villain.
Flector is so fun.
Bro can't touch grass. That's so sad.
My girlfriend hates me.
It's the definition of the.
My family won't even look at me.
Hey, dude, what's up? They all hated me.
Yeah.
You made me. Why'd you make that guy?
I didn't. He's talking crazy.
The funny thing with me is that I've seen 2 of the movies, and I've seen half of the second movie.
You didn't see all of it?
So I watched a while back. Of course, I watched. God damn it! What's the fucking 2 Heroes? I watched 2 Heroes, and I adore that opening scene with All Might. Seeing young All Might in his prime is so.
Oh, I love that scene too. It's so good.
Cool. I wish we could get more. Yeah.
I want that prequel so bad.
Yeah, and David Shield and all that. Those two going out.
They're in love.
Those two, you know.
They even made like a.
Old man
they even
yelling.
made. No, they even. I remember when the fucking Blu-ray came out. Funimation made
a fucking like episode or some shit.
They made like a little like rom-com trailer for.
I remember.
I remember.
I remember the bloopers in MHA where Chris Spat. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Chris Sabat.
Yes. So yeah, where he's like in the All Might voice keeps going, Shield, David, and like in such a homoerotic way. It's so funny.
I love the one where he checks his phone. He's like, "Oh, I got a text. Is it from Dave?"
David, it's been too long. It's so good. But yeah, I love that opening scene. I just want a full movie of that. The rest of the movie, it's good. It's not like the most incredible like thing. It's just like it's fun. You see your favorite characters. My cat is
Yeah.
going crazy on my get off.
If any of your faves like get a moment in that movie, then you're just automatically like set. Like you're fine.
Yeah. And you get some good Sakuga, and Deku and All Might. And like basically the only time we'll see them both in their peak. Because All Might does not have power anymore.
Yeah.
And then Heroes Rising. So yeah, I was watching that and I saw half of it. And half what I saw I didn't really like. I like seeing like the little character moments, like Ida running in the countryside, and you see like a farmer like wave to him and he's like, "Hey." And
That's cute.
yeah, it's just cute little moments. And the villains are cool and all, but of course I did see the rest of it.
Bro, you didn't watch the rest of it.
But
Why did you stop?
I watched half, but then it got late, and then I didn't watch the rest.
I just never got back
I
to
just
it.
never got back to it.
I've been there.
Yeah, but the backgrounds. Oh yeah, I want to mention on the first movie, it really is just kind of special rather than a real like feeling movie. But on the second movie, the backgrounds like it feels a lot more like movie. It's all backgrounds are pretty. It's just fun. And then the third movie, that one, yeah, definitely that one is where it feels genuinely like this is a film. This is a real movie. And
Exactly.
yeah, and I love the road trip. I love Rhodey. I love what Poyo was saying. It's just like it has a specific cast of characters rather than trying to include everyone. The villain,
It's focused. Like it's good.
focused, yeah. And the villain, he's good.
Yeah.
Bro
I didn't
couldn't
mind him.
touch anything. That's why he's a villain.
I think if I couldn't have sex with my girlfriend, I would.
I would be pretty angry.
Well,
I'd be pretty angry too.
I'd be
Are
pretty
you trying to
fucking
kill
pissed.
all non-quirk people as well, or like
Yeah.
make everyone quirk people? Whatever he was trying to do.
You also become Commander Downby, the Commander Counter.
It's
Oh,
a cool
blue.
It's an interesting premise. It takes kind of what the manga has set up with certain villain threads or just like problems with society and kind of expands on it, which is good. I think My Hero movies should like expand on what the manga maybe lacked, which maybe the fourth movie can do that for this section story. So, perhaps. But yeah, it's a real solid movie. It's fun.
It's very fun.
Seth, what are your thoughts?
So the original
He hates them.
Okay. No.
They're his favorite movies of all time.
No,
They're the
anyway.
worst.
So anyway, the original My Hero Academia movie trilogy, let's call it that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about them. There's a lot to kind of raise your eyebrow at them, but I think all of them are pretty damn good in their own like special ways. I think Two Heroes is like this. It's just like a fun time. Like, oh, we get to see like Deku and friends, and they're doing something that we didn't really expect them to do. They went to this like resort island artificial expo for heroes thing. It was really cool.
It sets up some world building, which the manga continues, which is awesome.
Yeah, like everything mostly everything in that movie has come back into the main story, which is really
like the
hype.
gauntlets, and then Melissa's a character.
Yeah,
I
Even
was
though it's
hoping
weird
they
that
bring
Deku's not like,
Mugans.
these remind me of what Melissa made for me. He's just like, oh, thanks.
No, they're always like, my friend from America made this, and it's like, okay,
What's her name,
what is their
Deku?
name, All Might? What's their name,
What's
Deku?
She-Her's name?
What's She-Her's name?
She-Her's
But
name.
You don't
What's
need to know.
Girlie's name?
I think like the biggest part about Two Heroes though is like what kind of it is ultimately I think the lowest of the trilogy, because I think its only real sort of I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I guess the thing that makes it special is the fact that it is the first one.
Mhm.
You know, the
Exactly.
novelty of it, of being like sitting in the theater excited for like a My Hero Academia movie because this has never happened before.
Because the
Is
first one was the first one.
yeah,
It
is
never
what like.
happened.
But then like you kind of compare it to the other ones, and it's kind of lax in a lot of the things that the sequels build on, which is good. I think sequels should always build upon what the first or the previous thing does.
Yeah.
But like highlights of that movie were like definitely Deku and All Might and that stuff. If you watch that movie chronologically, I think it might be the first time you see All for One on screen.
Really?
Oh yeah, because there's the little like random ass pull flash where Wolfram's like, "You see, I was hired," and then PNG All for One's like, "I did it because it'd be funny."
Yeah,
Was that the first time we actually saw Bro? I'm trying to
it's not, because the movie was what took place, or it was released after season 3, but the movie
Right.
takes place before season 3.
Oh.
And
yeah, they
we'd-
did that because they're like, well, they already saw the show.
it's the first time chronologically you'd see his mask, because there's another shot of him before where he's shrouded in darkness and you get a little bit of his flesh plum,
His gross ballsack head.
Yeah.
And, that's another thing that also like kind of screws with that movie, is that yeah, it's an anime movie, so like no long lasting stakes or no long lasting like effects are gonna happen really. But like the fact that it's like All Might at full power, but it's after All Might retires, is like, oh, this movie has no stakes at all. Like everyone's gonna be okay, which kind of sets it back a little bit.
But I think if you look at it in the lens of like his last hurrah, almost like kind of like a remember what could have been with All Might, that reads very well.
Yeah, that's the only real issue I have. Not issue. It's not even an issue. It's just like an observation I have with the movie. Heroes Rising. That's it. Heroes Rising is
the name thing's so funny.
Heroes Rising.
It's so interchangeable. Heroes Rising is basically like the first movie but upgraded. Like it has better backgrounds. It has like crazy good animation. Like it is almost like it's almost like when I saw it, I compared the ending to Super Broly. Like I was that blown away when I saw it on the big screen. If I looked at it back to back, I'd be like, "What the hell is that comparison?" But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of fair. It's fair. I feel like I enjoy both that and World Hero Mission like on the same level, but for different reasons.
I think Heroes Rising had it had an okay like story, because it's not really focusing on that, right? It's more about like, hell, isn't this hella awesome action sequence hella awesome.
It is hella awesome,
and it is hella awesome.
That'd do.
But I think in terms of the plot, that one might be the weakest one. If say Two Heroes is like the weakest, like visually, like that's the trade-off, I guess.
Yeah.
I like the little kid. I like the little kids.
I like the little kids. I like that they're kind of paired up with Deku and Bakugo.
Yeah, that's neat to see that they're kind of like parallels almost, but also they're just like little kids in a movie. So like they have all of the little
anime
kids
children.
They have all of the little kids in a movie tropes. The World Heroes Mission, which is a dumb title. I do not like that title.
It's a weird like mouthful too, like World
Yeah.
Heroes Mission. I don't know.
It's like almost as bad as Let There Be Carnage. It's a dumb subtitle too.
Don't tell Ethan that, bro.
But yeah, that one takes like the visual like experience of Heroes Rising and like the essence of the first movie, like wanting to like build on the lore, and really just like marries the two like ideas together. And I think it's like really fucking solid.
Yeah.
I think the montage in the middle of the movie, and it's
the
like
flower segment.
the flower segment, and I think that movie like just decides, it like makes it almost like the movie just decided to hit the pause button on the remote for you, because it's almost like you can pick the movie. That's like the bathroom break part of the movie.
Oh my god!
Because there's no
That's
it's just like this. Well, it's a nice song. It's
It's
literally
the
just an
infant
entire
song.
song. The entire song.
Is it
Realize
because
you're kinda
I was sitting there in that theater because it's the only one that I got to see in theaters, but that montage came up, and I listened to Flowers prior to the movie release, so like seeing it paired up with the backgrounds, it was both like half my brain was like, this is so nice, and the other half of my brain in the theater was like, why don't the fucking anime backgrounds look like this? Come on!
No, that
I
was
know.
literally my thought process exactly. I was like, I'm not trying to be the biggest hater of the anime or anything. 'Cause I'm really not. But like, oh my god, the backgrounds have looked the same for the whole show, and low key, I feel like they've gotten a little worse.
It's so funny because that was my thought as well. Just like, please. I was watching the movie and I saw that and I was just like, why? Why
These
do you
are-
do
Yeah.
this to us?
These
These are my people.
They were really pretty. They were
Yeah.
really pretty to look at. However, there's no story for like 3 minutes, and it's like, did the movie just was the
Pause.
movie like, okay, here you go, you can go to the
I mean, I
bathroom
guess because
now.
the point of the scene was to like, it's a like, it's a nice little
Right,
it, like
sure.
it's a montage, but it's like a
Yeah.
nice little breather where the two characters get to bond and like you at least get to feel like they've spent enough time with each other
Yeah,
during
'cause
this.
That's what
really
shows, yeah.
It could have been a little
depends
shorter,
how
though.
much investment you have in Deku and Rhodey's like kind of bond. And yeah, it could
Oh,
You
I
just hate
was.
love. You just hate love.
No, I was in my boy best friend. I was really invested in like their like journey. I just thought that the montage was too long.
I
Right.
can go
okay,
back
like-
because I've still only seen it that one time in the theater, so maybe on revisit it might drag a little longer. So I'll come back to you on that one.
We'll get
But the climax of Hero's Mission, I think, is like super fucking good. It's like peak My Hero almost, because you have like Bakugo versus like the fucking chain guys is super cool.
Oh yeah.
You have Todoroki fighting the monster thing. That's the other problem with My Hero movies, is that like the villains, I don't remember any of their names.
No,
Right.
Oh yeah.
Snake fucks big
Yeah.
man flex turn.
With Bakugo, I wanna mention that Bakugo just straight up kills people in those movies.
He does.
He's straight up.
Todoroki as well.
No, they're fine. They're fine. They're fine.
They don't die, but like you think that they die because in the
Yeah.
second film, that big furry dude that he fights, he like freezes him from the
Yeah.
inside. And I'm like, there's no way that dude is
Yeah, and
alive.
like the
you
icicle
killed him.
glacier like comes out of his mouth. It's like so
Yeah.
much ice. Like,
No,
Dude,
okay.
Chimera's dead. Like,
And then at the end of the movie, you see them like in handcuffs or some shit. I'm like, come on.
like
See,
nah, they prop that corpse up with a standee. That man's dead.
See, the anime versions and the movie versions are two different people on power
Yeah.
levels.
Anime Deku's like, ooh, and then movie Deku's.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
I will publicly embarrass myself on this podcast here, for the sake of it, because you just reminded me, Seth, with the Bakugo scene. The friend that I went with, the theater was relatively like empty, but apparently she caught me like mouthing attack names as they
Oh
happened.
my
Oh my god,
god.
bruh.
And I was just like
I'm sorry.
just
I
like,
can't
no,
help
it's
it.
it was like, it's fine, it was endearing. And I'm like, I didn't even know. I was just subconsciously doing that.
That's
But-
funny.
Inner
That's so
fan.
funny.
That's really funny.
But nothing will top that theater moment where I brought it up before. Where
That theater moment when
that theater moment when the funniest moment I've ever had in a movie theater, where the snake people stab Bakugo through the chest with the framing, and for the first time in the entire runtime, I look over to my friend and she looks at me, and we instantly know what it's referencing.
oh
What are you talking about?
We were like, oh, they're
Thing-
gearing us up early for when he gets stabbed in season 6.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
right.
actually kind of.
oh that's a good point. That's a good point. If like, okay, so he fights those two fucking guys, hyped up on the quirk enhancer drug, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's getting slashed open. Like, this is like the most brutal fight in like the movie and like in the series at that point. He's like getting slashed up, he's getting like stabbed, and he's like still fighting. And then and then season 6, he just like gets stabbed twice.
And
and, like,
dies.
And he's out like
See, that's why movie characters and anime characters are like they're on something else, you know. Bro, they were getting another thing in World's Hero, they were getting fucked up in that film. Like there were points in the like I know they're gonna be fine, but I was just like, oh my god.
No, like I
Oh my
don't get how
God.
they censored the little fragment of blood out of Tenko's hair in season 5, but Rhodey's over here painting the stripes of the American flag with his
No.
blood. Like
on the
I was
wall.
like,
That's crazy.
I'm like, holy shit.
I was like, please don't have this dude die. I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
It's like, what is your boundaries, my guys? Like
Maybe
that thing was
it's
bloody.
a movie. It's like a movie versus like a TV show, and like TVs have different like standards and stuff.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
It's definitely the
wild.
bloodiest outside of the Horikoshi's manga, the bloodiest My Hero piece of media.
They were
Something-
getting fucked up, dude.
Kotsky
Holy
with a red
shit.
eye as Clifford like yells his heart out.
Oh my
is,
God,
like,
that show's
one of the most magical moments.
Okay, I mentioned this earlier, but please go if you haven't seen these movies, please go watch them dubbed because like the My Hero dub is good like anyways. Like it's one of my favorite dubs just generally. They do their thing in the movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do their thing in the movies.
Todoroki's scene in the third movie, so good.
Yeah.
His
They were
VA did
doing their
excellent.
thing.
David
See, I'm
finally got to yell.
He
I
got
was
to
so
yell.
happy.
Yes. Yes.
See, I'm convinced they strapped down Clifford Chaplin in the booth, and in front of him they killed his entire family in order to get that scream.
Dude, I
True.
love saying that when like people do
They
good
beat him in the
performances and
booth.
stuff. Or yeah, they beat him in the booth. They literally kicked him in the balls.
The Ray Chase Roy scream in Smash Brothers. That's the first time I really heard it. It was just like
Me when
they
I'm in
actually stabbed him in the booth.
Me when I'm in a screaming competition, my opponent is him.
This is off topic. We made that joke with Yuki Kaji because we were watching a show where he was in it. And he was screaming like so much, and I was just like, Micah was like, "What are they doing to him?"
I just said like they beat him in the booth.
What the fuck
they
are they
beat that
doing to
man.
him? Yeah. But the dubcast be having their rent due, their family died, like
all the things. I'll bring this up since it's movie related. My favorite recording story I've heard when it comes to the My Hero movies is that the One for All thing, Clifford got to see it first in Heroes Rising, where he got One for All. So he was so excited for Justin to get there and see it, because he didn't know. So he was just kind of sitting on it for a while. It was like, oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't know I get One for All. Let's go.
That's awesome.
Does he know?
Does he know?
But anyway, Seth, you wanna?
Those are all my thoughts on like the My
Oh yeah,
Hero
we
movies.
keep
They're
fucking distracted from you. Sorry.
no, it's fine. They're really good. They have some great qualities to them. I like them a lot. However, they're not perfect.
Mhm.
But like
As
I'm
things
not gonna sit here and list everything off and be the ultimate hater because you don't want to hear me say that.
Yeah.
However, we've gone through the 3 My Hero movies.
Yes.
I think it's time we get into the real like meat and potatoes of this video, which is movie 4. What the hell could movie 4 possibly be? What
Gay
are
people.
our thoughts?
Yeah. Gay sex scene.
Come here, Totoro. Give me a kiss.
Between who? That's up to you.
It's up to
You
you.
have to
I
buy
can't
your
tell you what
ticket to
that
find
is.
out.
Yeah.
All Might and David Shield.
Finally.
Finally.
Again?
Yeah.
You
It's
can't keep
longer this
recycling
time.
animation like this.
Yeah, they just recycle.
I guess the first thing that's interesting to note, and we made fun of it earlier, but like they don't have a name for this movie yet.
No.
It is simply
No.
My Hero Academia the movie, which we
Is
haven't
it still in production?
like we haven't gotten that before. Like World Heroes Mission name was revealed very close to its teaser. And I find that interesting. So either it's going to be something actually interesting, or what suffix are they going to put on heroes?
Right.
Oh,
Oh
or
my
prefix.
My
or
my
prefix.
my only
Prefix.
thing is
Superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck off!
My only thing is that because it's so sparse, I'm like, okay, that probably means they're not like. At least to me, it doesn't seem like they're far into production. Maybe they are just teasing. Maybe they are just being little teasers. But I feel like if
What we talked
I
about
don't
earlier,
know.
it's possible that it's been in production for a very long time.
Mhm.
That is
Yeah.
true.
I think they might not be revealing it yet because it could be a spoiler, or it could be
maybe.
That's my hope.
Mm.
Or it's Heroes Falling, which would be
Heroes
funny.
Falling.
Fucking Galaxy Heroes mission, dude. They go to
Oh,
space.
no.
But we talked about it I talked about it at the beginning, but I wanted to just kind of dissect like the placement and the timeline of this movie would take place in,
Yeah.
because after actually, you know what? We'll go before I do that. We're going to talk about exactly what we know so far, and what we know so far is that the movie will have an original story supervised by Horikoshi. Like that's kind of verbatim.
Mhm.
And we have a vague idea of the plot from Horikoshi's comment when the movie was first announced in Shonen Jump, which states, skipping ahead of it a little bit, states it'll take place after the war from season 6, meaning that the collapsed society will be the stage of this time. After having been through so much and learning so many things, who will Deku and his friends fight against this time? Who will they protect? Look forward to it. So we know 2 things. It's after the war, duh. And it's during the second half of season. It's not during the second half of season 6, but it's during that kind of era that's setting.
And I'll bring up the tweet that was just sent. There's no other source on this other than this news account of Shonen Jump News, but they make a comment saying that the story will be based on the characters' original plans, which I haven't heard that from anything else. It wasn't in the Hori quote. I don't know what the fuck that
I don't know where
means.
they got that from.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means
is
either.
this like actually sourced? I mean, I know
Yeah,
this is like that they do leaks sometimes as well, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, where did you find that? What does that mean even?
My guess is that it was a kind of a misconnect or like lost in translation.
Mistranslation,
kind of deal,
yeah,
but
probably.
like I guess if we entertain the idea, what would you assume that means?
Concept Deku.
I
Universe?
I would imagine, like, if we entertain that idea, I would imagine possibly like cut concepts like arcs or cut concepts that Horikoshi just had cut out just because being in shonen's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth, do you remember
Sorry.
there's a tweet about it where like it talked about Horikoshi, how he had to like cut out some like ideas. Like of
There's a
course
lot of those.
Do you mean the one with
I
like
was gonna say I know with like
force
the light.
training?
There's that, yes, but also at least from memory, and you can't quote me on this because I don't know entirely, is that he kind of wanted to go more into like who's the black market guy for the
The League of Villains?
Giran?
Yeah, him. I think Horikoshi wanted to go more into that type of like world. I guess the black market of like Hero Society, but I guess
as Giran's #1 fan.
Yeah.
I'm in.
But I mean, once again, that's just from memory when I saw. So, but if this movie is like, well, it is after Collapse Society, it would be interesting to see like the worst pieces of Hero Society in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The dark sides of it that the anime or manga can't really do at this moment.
I have a pretty good idea of where I think the movie will take place, and it's kind of what I said earlier. It's going to be after everything we've seen in season 6.
Yeah.
I think the way Horikoshi words it is that it's after like the war specifically.
Yeah.
But like he could also just be because like what does that mean, right? Like the war isn't really
war.
The Zeta costume really like centers it into like exactly where we're at of like where he gets that.
Because like a war isn't just one battle.
Yeah.
The war is the entire season.
And assuming on the I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt and that original plans thing. And I'm going to segue that into... I'm going to give it as non-spoilery as possible, but what Seth and I were talking about a little bit in private was a user on Twitter named Ethan Kane sleuthed out that the film could take place between chapters 339 and 342. Mm-hmm. Deku's back up on his feet after the Rogue Hunter arc, and he's leading Class 1A as a search squad to rescue any civilian stragglers caught in the chaos, as well as put away any rogue villains, all the while trying to hunt down All for One's location. And they set that up, and then we move away for a little bit, and then we cut back at 342, and they're like, oh man, I'm beat, and it's all of Class 1A. And we don't see what happens in that time, and that feels like the perfect point to have a movie plot take place while they're out with... because that is a open gap of time that I feel like was intentionally written in.
That makes total sense.
We don't know what they did. Like we had an idea, like, oh, we're gonna go do this, and then like something happened, and they got back to it. It's like, oh, something's missing.
My favorite thing in media where they're like gearing up to do something, and then it cuts to after it happened. They're like, but that was super crazy. That just happened.
Another easy adventure for Spider-Man.
I was gonna say that, like, I remember, I think it was to do with like the light novels and stuff, how like Mike, I could be wrong, but some of the ideas in those, like, basically it's stuff that Hori wanted to get to in the manga, but he just didn't because of like the plot. Like he had other things to like prioritize.
Get to the action.
Which like those are more slice of lifey. So like I'm not even gonna say that would be like what this is. But because of the fact that he has said before that there were things that he wasn't able to do just due to like circumstances, I wouldn't really be surprised if the movie was like one of those like scrapped arcs or scrapped plot ideas that like he never got to. For a long time I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be the villain movie. Cause
you on that copium with me, buddy?
I am on big copium. I don't know. It would be so cool, right?
It would be so awesome.
Fucking slap to have a villain League of Villains movie. I don't know.
And it has all of the parts from My Villain Academia that were skipped in flashback.
Right. Remember when we did this? Yeah.
Remember Remember when Mr. Compress has his flashback and it's mainly on Spinner?
Oh my god, that was literally my issue with that. I'm glad they like wanted to like re-up it. I was just like, it kind of defeated the point though, because it was from the perspective of a character who the arc wasn't even like from that person's perspective. It was from Spinner's perspective.
So
It was
funny.
him. Anyways. Yeah, I
Uh,
would hope that like just from this weird vague like translation of whatever they're going off of, it would be like like some scrapped idea that Hori has never been able to do.
Yeah.
That could mean anything. We don't know,
Who
but
knows?
that is also where my head is at. I
It-
have like a like we'll get into it later. I have a potential pitch, like a plot pitch of what the movie could be based on like what I think would make the coolest film that wouldn't intrude on anything in the main story. Based on that idea of like old ideas not making it to the surface.
Mhm.
Ooh, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
But I kind of wanted to like talk about the type of movie this might be, and we talked about it a little bit when we were going over the last three. But there's essentially two types of My Hero Academia movies. There's ones that are like the plot focused ones, and then there's the ones that are battle focused, which is like number two, and the plot focus would be one and three. I potentially can see this movie being like either or, because I think like option one you could have this kind of like slow burn story that like
Mhm.
focuses on like Deku's like relationship with like Class 1A during this time, and like you could really show like the civilians' point of view of like their struggles in like this fallen Japan, and it can all lead up into this like big climactic showdown with whatever antagonist ends up being in the movie at the very end. Or, and I'm thinking this might actually be what they do. Option two is we have the battle focus, kind of like two.
Yeah.
Where we have like the entire movie. Well, the beginning of the movie kind of sets up who we're gonna fight, and then the second half or the remaining amount of runtime is pretty much just like this one big fight with the villain. And I think that would actually be a really cool way to sort of act as like a sequel slash follow up to the Deku vs. Class A episode, where they talk about how they talk about or actually like display that they are like his support system. Like, yeah, him going out and fighting like these villains or whatever is fine. You just need like some people to back you up. And I feel like that would be a really cool way to like a movie with an extended amount of runtime. It'd be a cool way to have like new combinations of Class A that we never see like together, like do attacks and stuff, and like there'd be like this like super awesome powerful threat that is movie level but like not Shigaraki level, I guess. And it's like, oh, you know, it's Deku and he's like fighting side by side with Bakugo, which is something we haven't gotten in a long time in the manga. So, you know, it'd be really cool to see. And I think that could be the direction that they go. But I'd be okay with like the first option, or if they kind of tried to blend them together.
If the movie can kind of elevate these characters in such a way that it benefits the next arc, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main hope, is that this movie will exist as a perfect bridge between what we just saw in the anime and then what we're currently having in the manga now.
Yeah.
And the environment, if they do have a lot of those like fan service kind of like action moments to fill out when they're not focusing on plot, the big wide umbrella of all for one assassins is extremely easy to use because we only saw Lady Nagan, and that's an easy amount of pools that you could say I was hired by All for One, and a bunch of them for Class 1A if they go more action centric.
Mm-hmm.
Can they just bring back Hawks's text to speech voice? I think that'd be really funny.
Oh my
I think that'd be
God.
really funny for this entire movie. He just has that.
He has like a really cool Sakuga cut. He's just like, don't worry, I'll hold them back.
I thought you were just gonna say, "Can we turn back close?" They're like, "Yeah, sure."
Don't worry, Deku.
Oh
This
my
could
god.
also potentially be the first movie where Best Jeanist is in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? You know what makes me upset about that thought?
Yeah.
If Best Jeanist makes his anime movie debut in this movie, 4 movies in, no Aizawa in the fucking movie.
Wait, why
my
is Aizawa never in the fucking movies? I just realized.
He's always like at the end. Or like
he can't be in this one because he's crippled now.
No. Help.
And this will probably be the last movie too. So like, oh god.
Oh yeah, because after this, like, I mean, maybe not the. Do you think they have like one more movie in them before they're really done with My Hero?
Unless they do
during the run of
epilogue
the series
or a fantasy movie, like those are their 2 options.
It's okay, guys. We still got 11 movies more.
I remember hearing something about like an extended movie, like 10 movie deal after the 3rd one came out. I don't know how true that is, but
they really do want to be Dragon Ball.
I could definitely see movie 4 being the movie that the last one within the series run. There could still be movies after the show is over. There was a leak that there was a Vigilantes anime confirmed, and that just never happened. We never got any information about that, so I guess the leaker just lied. So.
Oh yeah, what happened to that? Was that just not true?
I guess it just wasn't true.
I don't know. Maybe they weren't prepared to.
I've been waiting. Vigilantes could really use an anime. It's got so many good scenes. But anyway,
the Vigilantes movie. I don't know.
Vigilantes. Okay.
A fantasy AU. I've always said this. They need to do something with that fucking fantasy AU that they did in that ending like years ago. I'm still holding out.
I'm sure they will
forever.
I think a fantasy AU movie would be very fun. I think that's like a gold mine for a what if film to make.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like, you know how they make recap movies? You just do it's like a recap movie but in a different setting.
Oh,
that'd be interesting. That'd actually be kind of smart. You go through like story beats, but they have a fantasy makeover. That would be cool. I'd like that. Like it's recounting the tale of Deku and all he's done, but like it's like gussied up all Lord of the Ringsy.
You know, I'm surprised they never did compilation movies.
Yeah, I feel like season 1 could easily be a compilation movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like you don't want to watch the whole show, just watch the fucking movie.
Then you'd have like the sports well, I guess season 2 would be a little hard because the Stain arc kind of starts inside of the like fucking sports festival arc.
Yeah.
They're kind of happening like simultaneously, and then it switches to Stain.
If movie 4, like, kind of back to our ideas of movie 4, if it's gonna do one, or at least kind of even steps into the idea of what I was saying earlier, like showing the worst bits of society. I want to see some horror. That'd be kind of cool.
I was thinking a similar thing. I got that in my pitch.
Yeah, because like, I mean, Horikoshi, when you look at the manga, the anime unfortunately doesn't really do it justice, I feel. The manga, Horikoshi's art can get really like horrific looking. It's some of the ways he draws like Shigaraki or just like other scenes. Dude should make a horror manga, and that'd be kind of cool.
He has expressed interest. He said, like, during one of the later arc stuff, he was like, I'd love to do a horror manga one day.
I remember,
Absolutely he should. He is cooking with that.
He's great at it. But yeah, like, if the movie, like, showcases the worst bits, it'd be cool to see, like, a much darker side of the if you're gonna have a villain cast, make him really like ugly,
Mhm.
horrific,
Mhm.
like just the scabs of society.
Oh, I'm
Mhm.
excited to share this now.
Okay, yeah. Let's
I'll
hear
get
it.
to that later, but
Okay.
and just a little bit, pat it out a little bit, but I could see that, like, look on that lens of like looking at the worst of society. I feel like there's an easy insert for the next human side character in the form
Yeah.
of a civilian that was the previous war.
Mm.
So, like, I feel like if they do
A
want,
proper hero hater.
yeah, like you have somebody who's like directly affected, and Class A has to prove themselves to this person.
Yeah, and they're like,
in the-
Deku's awesome, yeah. At the end.
You're like, wow.
Well, maybe heroes aren't so bad.
Yeah, basically.
Maybe that
That-
really is My Hero Academia.
That is actually a great point, just because it really does, like, I mean, we got to see in the latest season, like, people are kind of really doubting heroes and just like massively hating on them, just because they're struggling as well. So they're taking out their anger. So it'd be cool to see more of that.
Mhm.
Expanding on the elements of the anime.
It's a good vehicle to show outside the barriers of UA, to start putting to practice the idea that they're pushing for, where rather than relying on one symbol of peace or the hero ranking board, it's more team-based. Like,
Yes.
everybody's sharing the burden. We start seeing that Class 1A become that Justice League / Avengers situation, rather
Yeah.
than a Superman situation, where it's all
Right.
on one person. And I think this would be a good way to put that to practice with a movie following them throughout the city and trying to protect it as best they can.
I want to
Definitely.
talk about the kind of villain you either expect to see or hope to see, or like what sort of antagonist do you think would be?
I know Trev
What
is
do you-
cooking
movie?
something.
What are you thinking, Trev?
I
All
want to
right.
hear it.
So forgive me. I'm gonna talk about the internal conflict. I'm gonna talk about the external conflict. 'cause
Yes.
Bro has the movie mapped
Let's
out.
go.
in his
Let's
head.
go. Let's go.
Okay. So for the internal conflict, my biggest hope is that since this is coming fresh off the presses of the Rogue Hunter arc of the anime, that this film's primary directive is a character-driven internal narrative.
Yes.
We will follow Deku's introspection on all that's happened since season 6, talking with Bakugo
Yes.
Kanchan.
Kanchan about their big apology moment and establishing their new bond prior to this final arc. How much Uraraka and Ida's big acts meant to him and showing their friendship. His stance on All Might and what he has to live up to, as well as gearing up for Shigaraki's encounter. So that'd be like the big like moral thing. We're getting a lot of that introspection the manga seems to have skipped for Deku, and that poster really gives me that idea, with the way that the scratched out text is the "It's your turn" line echoed through All for One. The shadow of All for One and All Might looming over him. It seems like this movie's gonna have a darker tone. So I wanna play in the space a little bit. I wanna use my nerd brain to try and think of a really good villain, and here's kind of what I came up with. With more All for One assassins being alluded to in the manga storyline without much fanfare, we got two names. We got Kuneda and we got Gashly. And I believe this is a perfect, easy insert villain slot with the environment the story's in. We only saw a few cronies and Lady Lingan in regards to All for One's hired guns, so making a new one for this movie makes perfect sense. I'd really love if Gashly was the villain for this film, as I believe that kind of threat would make a fascinating antagonist. And I want to explain. So this character...
Could you remind us?
Yeah,
like
this
who that
character.
is? Like what
I want to
is it
show people, like, yeah. So
Because I haven't been reading the manga, so I'm like, huh?
here's what we got so far. This character's only appeared in one panel, but they have a lot of inspiration behind them. So during the middle of this final arc, the hero's force brings up, it's like, at least we're not dealing with All for One assassins like Kuneda and Gashly. And Gashly is an All for One assassin briefly teased in chapter 353. A lanky, silhouetted figure with a large umbrella. The name Gashly is a reference to the Gashly Crumb Tinies, a famous alphabet rhyme book by author Edward Gorey from the 1960s. The book features a skull-faced man in black holding an umbrella who chronicles the deaths of 26 children, each kid representing a different letter of the alphabet. Fans have taken close notice of the book, specifically the I section, which is I is for Ida, who drowned in the lake. I don't think we're going to have the time to introduce a character like that within the story, within where the manga is currently heading, but this could make a perfect movie villain. Obviously, Ida's not going to die in a film, but I could see a more psychological and horror-centric MHA villain this time around, using this darker setting to explore the character's psyches and doubts regarding the aftermath of the Paranormal Liberation War. Whether their quirk possibly involves illusion revolving around a vivid image of death, or as a representation of all the souls the heroes failed to save during that storyline. As our heroes have to earn their place back in society and show the world what their plan is for the future, to own up past their failures and become strong for the fight to come. A perfect gear up for the story following this. That's my pitch.
My man was cooking.
He's got an idea.
Yeah,
I like
I
that
think
a
that's
lot.
cool.
I really like the idea of this villain taking it up as like their Grim Reaper hanging over their head. Like everything, that whole like collapsing society that Uraraka saw, this victim of that would take up this role of a villain, work under All for One, and really like get into their heads. We get this really nice, fucked up psychological look into like all the guilt that they hold and what they can do to change it. And you get this really like nice heroes rising moment. And I like this idea for the villain because rather than a big Dragon Ball level boss, because I mean, we said where this takes place. And having them fight like a final boss in the middle of the city and then having it not be mentioned in the manga seems a little unrealistic. So having a villain whose power set is a lot more mental and experimental rather than like straight up brute strength would, one, play to the narrative very well and give us things that we wanted from the storyline, but also realistically have a villain that's still a big presence without it being super like Shigaraki tier, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That
would
I
actually
think
make sense.
that's definitely what I think would benefit the movie a lot. Not just some all powerful man. It's just someone who really gets into the minds of these heroes.
Looking at the silhouette of this character that was teased, I feel like he could have like Nomu on leashes or something. Like he's that like type of guy where he's not like the guy that needs to be beaten, but he is the ringmaster. He's like the one like controlling the physical force.
Yeah, he may not be like someone who's incredibly like tough to beat like physically, but someone who just has so much force behind his actions.
Like their quirk has a lot of control, and they themselves have a lot of control. Similar to like how Dictator, that brief All for One assassin, used the people against the heroes, and Deku couldn't do anything to stop it, or else he's gonna kill people.
Yeah, definitely.
So I love that idea, and the adapting that deaths of the 26 children as the breakdown of 20 children through Class 1A. That name drop of that Gashly character in the manga always like stuck out to me because it's such an inspired idea that was so clunkily put in as like a reference. And the Kuneda guy that was paired along with them, we've seen them. You'll see. They haven't had much screen time, but they are another All for One assassin. But this character, with where the manga's going, I have no idea where that could go, and I think if they want to do that, like, we teased 9 in the manga before we showed him in the movie, then this could kind of be that for Gash.
They also teased, didn't they also tease the heroes that showed up in World Hero Mission in the manga as well?
They did, but that was after the movie had released.
That is true. Fuck.
But 9 is a specific one. Like they showed him a month after they announced the movie in the manga, so like that it existed. I don't even know if we had posters back then, of like not
I don't
as
remember.
existence. But
I also have sort of an idea for
Yeah. What's yours?
a potential villain threat. I didn't like write it down or anything. I don't have a pitch for you, but I kind of wanted to play with the idea of like parallels, because that's a big thing in MHA, is that the heroes and the villains, their struggles are always mirrored or paralleled in some way. Minor spoilers for season 7, but in the next arc we're going to focus on the American hero Star Stripe. She's like this foreign hero coming to assist with the war in Japan. I think it'd be pretty damn cool if the next like movie villain was an all-for-one assassin from another country, and we could have this.
Oh, that could be cool.
We have this like incredibly powerful villain that we've never heard of before because they're from fucking America
Brazil.
or Brazil or whatever. They're from this other place that we've never really paid attention to. So, and it's kind of parallels like the Star Stripe thing. It's this super powerful foreign entity coming in, and the opposing forces to oppose it. I think that'd be really cool for Deku and the gang having to face off against. Obviously, like maybe that wouldn't be like the best option if we're gonna have if we're kind of thinking like, oh, we should probably stray away from the whole like big Dragon Ball Z battle in the city kind of thing. But if they are going to do that, I think it'd be a cool opportunity to allude to that arc, because that's kind of what like these shonen anime movies do, is that they always take like whatever arc is current at that time, change it up a bit so the teacher doesn't notice, and then repackage it as a movie.
It's true. Unfortunately, we get like these like offshoot, because like World Heroes Mission was very overhaul in terms of like what Human Eyes was trying to do. It's just a different shade of it.
Yeah.
I was looking up and seeing if that book was published in America. It was. So, new headcanon, Gashly is American.
They do mention that like All for One does have people like scattered across the world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I have friends all over. You see,
they're my buddies.
They're my little chum
my
pals.
little friends.
My oomfies, if you will.
Oh no, not his oomfies. But yeah, I think like a big a big force from like across the ocean would be really cool.
Because then we get like a cool parallel from it. It's like, rather than help from the West coming to help Japan, it's like help from the West, the destroying Japan through a villain. Like that, we have the reverse. That'd be cool.
See, but they got to be movie level strong, but they can't be too strong.
Because then they'd like them being like, oh, I'm beat after the fight wouldn't make sense, because it's just like, man, they look tired, not destroyed.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm beat.
I'm tired.
Just some weak.
I really do.
I
do like the Gashly idea though. It's a little weird to me how Horikoshi would just like create some character who is named but isn't shown, who's based off of a very specific idea, and not do anything with it.
That's what I'm saying. I've been waiting for this dude to show up for like months, because I think that idea is so fascinating. But like, we're getting into like, okay, here's all of the final battles for every character right now, and I'm like, there's no way this dude can show up. And if he
unless
does,
we get a Fat Gums final battle,
it'll be so brief. That I was like, okay, think about the environment we're in. It's a darker movie about the collapse of hero society. A lot of people died. That's weighing on their minds. We got a lot of stuff to cover with their mental state and how they feel about everything. That really like could use some more elaboration within the story. Not just with Deku's close relationships, like I mentioned before, that I'd love to see, but yeah, their impressions to the public. We have UA and their shelter, but something that search mission brought up is that they need to rescue any civilian stragglers. And I imagine those stragglers would exist through lack of faith. And having a villain that embodies that idea of loss and, like, the idea that, like, death will haunt you, and have that, like, try and weaken our hero's mental state before the final battle occurs in, like, 4 days, if we're looking at that chronologically, that seems like a good all-for-one assassin, and it seems like a good theme for the movie. It's dark, sure, but that's the vibe that poster gives me. Introspection and a darker tone.
Yeah, definitely introspection for sure. That's what I all I could hope for this movie for sure. Playing into those themes and struggles of these characters. And
My Hero Academia, Gashly Crumb Tiny.
One of the points you made earlier, Trev, with like Uraraka seeing that side of like the struggles, it would be cool to see kind of like, and also what Seth said with Bakugo and Deku teaming up. It would be cool to see definitely a different mixture of these characters, a different mix-up. And if we could see, like, I don't know, like some Uraraka spot like that would be awesome. Because she has very much a place into, like, the war and also onward.
I really like the idea of not just like the different combinations that Seth brought up, because I think that's a good idea, but also like we get a really nice original UA trio moment between Ida, Uraraka, and Deku, because that's something that the story does not have enough of.
Yeah, bro, Uraraka and Ida, those are like his buddies, you know.
Those are best friends.
It kind of is a bummer that at certain points, like, they get a little sidelined,
and like
those are your
shadowed by
homies,
the
bro.
rivals.
If like and like your pitch with Trev with like Ida has already like almost fed into that dark side of society. He went after God damn it, I already forgot his name.
With Stain.
Stain, yes. He went after Stain and like was ready to basically kill him. But Deku helped him. And of course, Uraraka, like what mentioned earlier, she's seen this like struggle. So if the movie like had that original trio, that would be so good.
I think it'd be great for
I
them.
think we have enough with Todoroki and Bakugo. Definitely.
I would like a lot of Bakugo in this movie, but primarily on really closing up what that apology scene meant to Deku.
Yeah.
Because it's fresh on the anime audience's minds through that. And I think with the lack of exploration of that idea in the manga, which is baffling to me, this is a perfect vehicle for just something small, a conversation showing what their bond looks like now.
Yeah.
And how that kind of works here. But
Yeah.
Uraraka and Ida especially, like, being a focal point would really help based on how they're... Because Uraraka would have a lot on her mind, too. She's gearing up to fight Toga. And as you said, Ida has already danced with darkness before, and he was under the impression he was about to lose his brother.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that regret of, like, not being able to save someone through this Gashly character would drive Ida to really put his lesson to practice. What he learned from that Stain encounter.
And definitely play into like Uraraka as well. Just not being able to save someone. It's something they both struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
What else was this? Oh yeah, and if the villain can like kind of even mess with Ida as well into those struggles, that would be great.
Challenge that idea, their resolve, and try and break them down by showing them all the things they couldn't do in that arc, because there's so much. Like, Shigaraki literally leveled half of the city. So I love that for an antagonist. Because damn it, I want a My Hero movie villain that has some sauce, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something that's a little deeper than like, ooh, scary.
Yeah.
Ooh, scary.
Like, Nine's got
He's just like all for one.
Yeah, 9's
Scary.
got the aesthetic sauce, but like his motivation's like, I want the lightning. Give me the lightning. And it's like, that's it. Like, bro, okay.
Yeah,
Wolfram's
I think we do need a villain with a little more to chew on than just,
The chin scratch at, to
scary.
ponder.
You have to ponder, to think.
Because My Hero has some of the best villains in the anime landscape because of the stories they come with. And I think there's so much potential for that on this environment. That's so easy to put in, it hurts. All the pieces are there. I just put them together. Like,
Yeah.
We have the ingredients to this pie. We just have to make it.
Come on, cook! And
but also...
Hori being involved directly makes me hopeful, because he's been gearing into the more horror stuff. He likes his dark themes with My Hero.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then definitely, and unfortunately, the anime kind of lightens the mood. I feel like when it comes,
they nerf it.
They nerf it. Yes, the dark themes compared to the manga. I feel so. Give me some meat. Give me something to chew on, like Poyo said.
What if this movie is called My Hero Academia, the movie Dark? It's just
Dark.
Dumb.
My
It's just some dumb
Zero.
Zero
Dark.
hero.
Dark Heroes.
Dark Heroes. Help.
Dark
Heroes Darkness.
Help.
Heroes Darkness. God.
Oh, that's worse than Heroes Falling.
Please don't.
My Hero Academia Heroes
Zero
Darkness.
Hero to Zero.
Help.
Please don't.
I can't.
Please don't include the word hero in this shit. I swear to God.
Oh, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. See,
Heroes Darkness, make it happen.
They already called that vigilante arc the Dark Hero arc, so like I wouldn't even put it past them. This is what I mean, right?
Awesome.
Like, I don't want to face that inevitable disappointment where that trailer's gonna drop, and then it's none of what I said.
I know. I'm afraid now because
these ideas. It could be the opposite, but it could still be like fine,
Yeah,
it just depends.
But there's so much potential. I just want them to capitalize on the things that the manga didn't get to.
If anything,
if
anything, if Gatchley was like a movie villain, even if he's not the main villain, he could still be a really cool, like, secondary threat.
Mm-hmm. If they do the group of people, or even like, I like the idea that like what you said with he's the ringleader, but he has like muscle to carry out his like physical demands that he lacks.
Yeah, he's like a Batman villain or something.
Yeah,
it's like Scarecrow.
Yeah, come on! Oh my God, Ghastly Scarecrow! Come on, bro!
Yes, yeah, definitely.
That'd be so good. But like, yeah, then you can still have those moments of like Class 1A fighting a bunch of cronies with like the typical movie My Hero fare, but you still have that really interesting deep dive into the psyche with Ghastly, so it makes him a threat. So it'd be more about just how hard can Deku hit him until he dies. It'd be more about like proving their worth in this society, why heroes are still needed, and what the future's gonna look like.
But can they also punch him until he dies?
Also, could they punch him until he dies?
Yeah, putting these characters through the worst, but also showing the hope that there is.
Because that's a super easy way to set up like a backstory for the villain too. It's just like, yeah, I was affected by the damage, and you guys couldn't save me in time, or like a loved one. Like, that's so easy, and you immediately like understand where they're coming from. Of course, they're lashing out at the heroes.
Okay. Pitch.
So it's easy.
Yes.
Pitch. Dead mom, side character, friend of the day.
Yeah, I was gonna mention
dead wife
character.
Villain.
Dead wife villain.
The two strongest forces. Dead wife, dead mom. Like, who wins?
I mean,
Who wins?
Who wins?
Who wins? Kind of playing on that, actually. If we go back to the idea of a civilian from the wreckage kind of being our human side character for this film, tying them to Gashley and their family potentially, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
If they do it right. It shows like they're not just some random person to have around, they have a direct tie to the antagonist. It's like it kind of Gashley went off the deep end in terms of regret. And she's like, "Stop it, bro! Why you doing that?
Nichan!
Nichan, stop this! Nah, bitch. Damn, I'm gonna kill all these heroes."
I also wanted to bring up, or not bring up, but just like I propose the idea, like, what is your guys' wish list for this movie? What is like the things like, oh, this has to be in this. Like, I need to see this.
Honestly, I laid all mine out. The Bakugo closure, Uraraka Ida closure, All Might closure, and an exploration of that. And
Do you have any surface level? Do you have any surface level like, just like fan servicey things you'd like to
pop off with Fajin and float and Danger Sense? Please, thank you.
Yeah, that's basically the same for me. Just like do some different dynamics, possibly expand where the anime and manga couldn't, and just unique combinations with these characters. Something that hasn't really been shown. Well, something that we don't get to see too often. Giving the fans something else.
Yeah, that is a good one. Different pair-ups of characters, different team-ups. I agree with.
And show the struggles and make these characters fucking cry and suffer.
Yeah.
And sob and fucking shit their pants.
You're gonna wail, bro.
I'm so like, I don't know. I'm very like open to like anything, to be honest, with whatever's gonna be the next movie. Because like I still think the idea of a villain-centered movie is so like good and like has potential. It's probably not gonna happen, but like
I'm chipping away at that script. I'm making it before they do.
Mm-hmm.
Trev finishes the villain movie before fucking nonsense.
See, they're not ready for our villain movie.
Dude, where is Seth? There he is. Where we were talking about like Deku Shigaraki team
up. I've thought about that before too. I will be fully open. It's so ridiculous, but like I love the idea of like alright, they're getting in the way of both of our ambitions. Let's beat the shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
If this movie was made before All For One took over Shigaraki's mind, maybe.
I would do that kind of plot line in like Overhaul territory. Timeline wise.
Yeah, it's a little too late now.
That's before he becomes a liberated god, and it's also where he's a little like he's still coming into his own as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see, and this is like my surface level like wish list thing. Okay, I just want to have a one scene where Deku puts the mask back on, just once. I want to see
That'd be nice. That I would really like to see that too.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Like,
another thing,
I'm a little
I know
angry
he's
right
sort
now.
of better now, but like, come on, it'd be dumb.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be scary, but it can look cool. You still have the black like irises thing.
Damn bitch, you smell.
You suck.
What do you mean?
Another thing I want to see is I want to see a part of the film where we have Deku and Bakugo, or Bakugo and another character just having like a mid-battle conversation that doesn't rely on the whole like "don't tell me what to do" line that is in every single My Hero Academia movie.
That is so true.
God.
I want to see
every movie that
like how does post-apology Bakugo fight alongside Deku? Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah, because he has a lot of respect for him now that he can be open about. So I'd imagine it'd be like a try to keep up, nerd, less than a like don't tell me what to do. Because, like, once again, remaining spoiler-free, there are a lot of moments following what we're going for where Bakugo gives credit and acknowledgement to his fellow classmates. Like, where he's just like, I never expected anything less, Todoroki. So I want some of that in this movie, if we're getting that. Just a little bit of that respect gained back for him, between him and Deku, especially if we get closure on the apology. Then come on, please. Don't just cookie cutter my mans again.
Yeah, because the "don't tell me what to do" joke got really stale in World Heroes Mission, because he says it like in every scene he's in.
Every scene he's in.
That's true.
Be like, okay, I'm on the computer. Rody, Shoto. Shut the fuck up, Deku!
Shut up!
I would also like to see maybe the friend of the day character, if they don't, and they might not do this, but if they don't do it's a civilian, like a hero we've never seen, because we always get the side characters being civilians. And I think it'd be really interesting if like the friend of the day for the movie character was also in on the action.
A struggling
I
beginner
would've wanted-
hero.
I would have wanted the character, like the buddy of the day, to be a villain.
That'd be interesting. And they like change sides.
Yeah.
I'm imagining like a civilian after the war who like got inspired by Deku's acts of vigilante.
And he's a vigilante.
And he's a vigilante. And he's going around, he's doing his Batman deal. And he's like trying to save the city, and Class A comes up across them and was like, yo, what are you doing? Who is this kid?
The great Saiyaman.
That'd be so cool. I would love that.
We just need him like posing. That'd be great. And everyone's just like, what is this? Who is this guy? What is he doing? And then it's like Deku. He's like in the position that All Might was in at the very beginning of the series, where he like tells someone they could be here. Oh wait, they already did that.
Oh.
Damn.
You can do it again. It's fine.
And do it again.
I think it'd be really cool if Deku comes across it, which is like, don't lose yourself in this role, because it will take a toll and you'll alienate the people around you. It's okay to ask for help.
Definitely.
Like, that'd be so good from him after what we just saw. Telling that to somebody doing a very
I learned this lesson last week.
I did, and now I'm gonna practice what I preach.
No, that'd be really cool. Another thing on my wish list. Yutaka Nakamura?
Yeah.
God, can you please let Yutaka Nakamura
God?
animate?
Please.
Let him
Deku's-
cook one more time.
Can you please animate Deku's ultimate attack from the final arc in the climax of this movie?
Please.
Because like it'll be really, really cool.
It'd be really cool.
Even though like technically, canonically, it hasn't really been introduced yet in the anime, and it wouldn't really make sense because like the whole thing is like you can't use it till the blah blah blah. Just do it anyway. You know, he was only allowed to use 100% infinite like bullshit super mode powers for like one arc because he had Eri on his back, but in every movie he did it anyway.
It's true.
So, like,
he just pulls it out of his ass.
So like, who cares? Just do it. It'll be awesome.
That's gonna be something really interesting to bring out. Speaking of like the order of events, I'm just gonna blanket here. There's a massive spoiler they're going to have to dance around with all of their life, because with the point of where this movie's gonna take place, this plot point just happened.
Oh,
and they're gonna have to like avoid that like the plague in addressing it for the anime only.
unless the movie comes out after that episode.
Unless, but like I don't see season 7 starting until this is out. In my opinion,
That's true. That could also be.
So even if it's like really close, it's like
that's a question. Like, how are they gonna do that?
How are they gonna avoid talking about it?
That's like okay. That's like the biggest spoiler of like the entire series, really. Like it's been built up since like the beginning.
So what do we do?
Man,
Dear God.
Bones, the writers got a big assignment.
Or they
ahead of
just
them.
won't care and they'll be like, haha,
Bro.
guy.
Hey guys, bleh.
So, oops, sorry. Thought you read.
Thought you read. That reminded me of fucking. I don't watch One Piece, but the fact that they were like so like not secretive about Gear 5 at all.
Yeah.
They were just like, no, this is what it is.
And it's awesome. It's cool. And he
It's
uses
fucking sick.
superpower.
It's awesome.
It's awesome and cool. So I guess you're right.
I mean, it got me to start reading, so I guess it did its job.
I might be misremembering. Did Heroes Rising spoil that Deku had multiple powers?
Technically.
Technically.
I think it did because it not only spoiled that, but another character used an ability that hadn't been shown in the anime yet. I think it was Tokoyami.
Oh yeah, because he's
yeah,
like
he
flying in that
did.
movie.
He did. Yeah, there's the one thing I remember where everyone I watched with was like, didn't even pick up on it, but I did, where Nine picks up Deku by the leg and he's like, I sense multiple quirk factors within you. I'm like, whoa, wait, you can't say that yet. They don't know that.
So
Crazy.
like, maybe they'll just like say it.
Maybe they just won't give up.
That's what
Maybe-
I think they might do. They might just be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. And then anime audience are, whoa, what the fuck did I miss?
Tune in to season 7 of My Hero to find out the answer.
Oh, come on!
Fuck
But
you.
yeah, this movie's got an interesting like it's got the most interesting like potential out of
Yeah.
every
Mhm.
single movie that we've gotten so far, because everything has kind of been like during the typical My Hero happy times.
Yeah.
So
The point where you could put any amount of stories, but within this stage, there's only a really like finite amount of things you can do with it, and all those things would enhance the main storyline
Yeah.
very well. So I hope that they're a little braver with this movie. I hope
Mhm.
they make something that's going to resonate more than the superficial,
Oh, boy.
but still have those aspects that are like, yeah, you get a ticket to see that.
yeah, there's so much potential. I think the movie, whatever they decide to do, will be good. But like now that you've put the idea in my head of this like Ashley character or this like psychological thing, it's like maybe whatever they do, it'll be good, but maybe it won't be.
Will
as
be
good
bad.
As, won't be that good.
So I want everybody to log into their new X accounts, and I want them to type #Gashly for M4.
And no one will know what that means.
Nobody will know what it means. They'll be like, are you talking about a children's book? Shut the fuck up. It's for My Hero Academia.
I don't really have a conclusion to this episode. Bye, and then we end it. No, no, but we've been at this for 2 hours now.
Yeah. Dear God.
But any closing thoughts on like what the fuck we were talking about for the past 2 hours?
Yowie.
What?
Yowie.
What?
Yowie.
Contron, why are you kissing me?
Okay. Okay.
Please be good and don't do some dumb bullshit that ruins the story.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what it'll be a fun time in the theaters because I always look forward to watching these movies every time they come out. Hope it makes more money than the last one. Well, because they've all been progressively making more money, which is good.
Yeah.
Like in the West specifically, like they do pretty well, like for anime films. So I'm like,
Because they're actually putting them in more theaters, so schmucks
No,
like
exactly.
me can watch them.
Yeah.
That's like the thing I'm blessed about for like modern anime stuff is that like at least for the popular things, they actually put the movies in like theaters, like for people to see. Like I saw the Demon Slayer like comp film in theaters, and because it was actually available, and like there was like another anime film that was like actually out. I'm like, oh shit, yeah.
They're nice about it now.
Crunchyroll, how about you pay your dub workers a bit more for this?
Yeah, pay your translators and your.
That's a good
voice
idea,
actors.
actually.
Yeah, it's a great
Stop
idea.
screwing over your voice actors and your translators, all the people that bring your stuff to life, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boy.
And stand in solidarity with your striking writers and actors. There you go.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's still going on. If it weren't for the writers and the actors, we wouldn't have any media to talk about. So very important.
Look at us being good people.
Look at us. But I think that pretty much wraps up what we wanted to say about My Hero Academia Movie 4's our first impressions, our predictions, our whatever. When the movie eventually comes out, we'll probably cover it. I want to cover the rest of My Hero a little bit. I want to revisit things, but don't expect that anytime soon.
We're still figuring some things out.
Yeah, we will be back, but like
we will.
later.
We got ideas.
There's construction going on. You gotta be patient.
Work in progress.
But yeah, what do you think? What do you guys think in the comment section?
Do you think All My
I don't know how to end
Shield
videos.
would like have a long?
Do you think they explored
Long.
each other's bodies?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so.
What do you guys think My Hero Academia Movie 4 will be about? What do you think the subtitle will be? Let us know in the comments down below if anyone is fucking watching this video.
Damn.
That was dark.
If you've gotten to this part, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Trev,
Of
for
course.
joining us for this episode.
You gave so many good ideas, tasty ideas.
I'm glad I can spread my 3 AM brain rot with my fellow fans and friends.
And if it's not like what you said, then I'm done with MHA. No more.
I quit.
I quit.
This has been the UA Anime Club podcast. I'm Seth.
And I'm Micah.
And I'm Poyo.
And we'll see you next adventure.